All right, we're here in the Troy Historical District. We're going to be interviewing Mayor Baker here shortly. And this is the Niles Barnard House here in the Historical District in Troy. And this is the original house in which everybody came together to take Troy from a township to a city. So let's go check it out. All right, we're here in the Niles Barnard House, and it was here in the late 1800s in which Niles Barnard, which the house used to be a lot smaller, they expanded upon it, but in the late 1800s they decided to take Troy, which was just a township at the time, and just like a small farming community, and create a plan around how to create it to a city, because one of the things Troy didn't have was a railroad like some of the cities around them. So they had to create a plan on how to go from a township to a city, so they stopped losing some of its territory. So I think that's pretty cool. It's a cool story about the city of, well, what was the township, now the city of Troy. All right, so we're here in the Troy Historical District, and we're about to walk into roughly a 1840s log cabin. All right, come with me here. So in 1840-ish, rough time frame, there's a guy named Alva Butler, and he moved into the area from New York, and he used to go and create a bunch of bread and make bread and leave the doors open to his cabin with extra bread and extra stuff for the Native Americans to come and help themselves, because he said it improved relations. And I just thought this building was super cool to come and check out. So take a quick little look at it. All right, we're here in the one-room schoolhouse here in the Troy Historical District called the Poppleton Schoolhouse. It was constructed in 1877, and it had, so when they went to move it, because it was originally on Big Beaver and Crooks, they had to deconstruct the whole thing because it was too big in which to fit underneath the highway. So they had to take the whole thing apart, and one of the biggest problems they had was it was too big, and the walls themselves were over 14 inches thick. So if you think about a brick, 14 inches, that's a foot and 2 inches, right? So it was a massive, massive building. So they took it apart and had to bring the whole thing back together on this site here at the Troy Historical District. Today they have over 12,000 people that come through every single year to check out this place. All right, so Troy is an extremely unique city here in Oakland County, and it's kind of the central business district of Oakland County. And it has a really interesting dynamic because it has so much commercial space and then restaurant space along Big Beaver, but then it also has two unbelievably highly rated high schools, along with being in 2019 rated one of the safest cities in America, in 2015 rated as one of the best cities to raise a family and also start a business. So Troy has a huge diversity in terms of not only its population, but also the community it has to serve with the businesses and the residential. And so the thing I find fascinating about it is the massive amount that it has in terms of the amount of square footage. It has 7 million square feet of retail space and 20 million of office and engineering space, and then another 14 million of industrial space. It also is home to Somerset Collection, one of the best malls, if not the best mall in Southeast Michigan, to go and visit. It has high-end retail within Somerset Collection, and it's probably the best mall in Southeast Michigan to go to because it has such a range of things to be a part of. And it also hosts my favorite business, and that's Keller Williams Somerset. Ethan, so tell me, what is it about Troy that separates Troy from other communities here in Southeast Michigan?
Well, I think we're the best place in the area to live, honestly, for a number of reasons. We are, first of all, we're very centrally located. You can't beat our location. We've got I-75 runs right through us. So that gives you an opportunity to travel down to Detroit, over anywhere else on the west side. You really have great location here in Troy. But besides that, as a place to live, we've got housing for everybody, beautiful residential neighborhoods, fantastic schools, shopping, dining, really something for everybody. And you can't beat the diversity of people that we have in our city across the board. Really, you always feel welcome in the city of Troy. We're the #1 most diverse city in Michigan most times.
Wow.
We've got several languages spoken in our schools at home. It really just, you feel welcome in the city of Troy, and there's something for everybody here.
You know, I think one of the unique things growing up in the area, I think one of the unique things about Troy is you have so much commercial, and then you also have a very large city in terms of residential. So how do you balance serving those two needs essentially?
It's tough. It's a challenge, definitely, because to many people we're a bedroom community. You're really here just to live and sleep and play and have a great time. But for so many, I mean, we're the third largest property value holding city in the state.
Wow.
Just behind Grand Rapids and Detroit, right? So we do have a huge commercial district where businesses from all over the world have headquartered here. Over 6,000 businesses actually.
Wow.
So it is a balancing act, and we do our best to try to keep the business in the business area and the residential in the residential. Yeah. But the cool thing about that is if you live in Troy, you can get to work in one of the world-class business, I mean, within 5-10 minutes, pretty much anywhere you are in the city. And I think that makes a huge difference for people.
So I think one of the interesting things about Troy is you do have the amount of city services that you have and the community that you have and the reputation that you have, but you also have very low taxes. Yep. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, that's a big deal for people buying a house in the city of Troy. Yeah. We have the lowest millage tax rate in the area, in the region, and we provide great city services with what we have. So that's a big deal. I mean, obviously, when you're looking to buy a house or when you're living in your house, how much you pay in taxes each year is a big consideration.
For sure.
Troy's got a low tax rate. We do have great city services on top of it, and we continue to make sure we keep that tax rate low as best we can, obviously, to serve the residents.
So where's the community heading? Obviously, so you've been in your role for a couple years now, is that right? Okay, so where's the community heading? Like, what's on the horizon for people that are moving to Troy? What are some of the upcoming exciting things that are happening within the city?
I think right now we have a really big focus on parks and recreation in our city. We're working really hard to add trails to our network. We've got 2 phases already built of non-motorized trails through the city. Okay. We're working on a 3rd phase right now. We're building a new park in our civic center area right now. It's about 5 acres. We already have about 1,000 acres of parks and green spaces in the city, which is a
lot.
That's publicly owned too. I mean, many of our neighborhoods have private parks as well. So there's a lot of green space in Troy that still exists for recreation. But I like to think we're really focused on that recreation aspect, quality of life issues. We're just looking at what we can do to serve our residents. We know coming out of COVID that people are loving their green spaces. Right. They love the parks. It's also important for them to be in a great house because they're spending a lot more time there.
Absolutely. So what would you say if someone was to ask you like what the culture of this community is? How would you describe it?
I think we're a very friendly culture, first of all. Obviously, culture means lots of different things. We've got all kinds of religious cultures, different ethnicities here in the city of Troy. But really our culture is one that balances quality of life, residential, with that business vibe. I mean, we don't have a traditional downtown, but everyone knows Somerset Collection is our mecca for regional shopping and everything. Yeah. People and the amount of restaurants that we have and we've provided over the past several years that have come into our city, it's really just it's a balance. It's a great place to live, work, and play, honestly. I mean, we've got something for everybody in that respect.
Well, you mentioned the restaurants. I think, outside of, really, I'd even say it is probably Restaurant Row on Big Beaver there. I mean, you've got the who's who of restaurants in a lot of ways, and you have even more opening up. So what's to come along that Big Beaver Boulevard? Is it going to remain kind of what it is, or is it going to continue to expand and continue to go east, or what's the...
Well, you see it kind of evolve. It does move a little bit east. Our main downtown development authority is between Rochester Road and Coolidge, so that's always been kind of the golden corridor, that major focus. But you see a lot happening east of Rochester Road now, which I think is great. There's been some great new residential housing coming up over there, some multifamily residential. Restaurants are coming in everywhere, the retail, and we've got some great steakhouses and those big kind of corporate restaurants, but we also have a lot of really great mom and pop restaurants, people working really hard, and there's little pockets throughout the city that have some really good dining as well.
Yeah, I think all those things are interesting. And then another thing that I think Troy is really known for is schools. So talk to us about the schools.
I mean, our schools are always top ranked. And that's one of the main reasons people do come to Troy. We hear it time and time again. They are wanting to be in our public school system, and these kids that are in our schools are fantastic. We work with them. Any chance I get to be with them or to talk with them in any way, I take advantage of it. We honor them and recognize them. For example, we have somebody who just got a perfect score on one of his ACT tests, and he's only the second in the world to do that.
Wow.
So I mean, that's a Troy student, and that's the kind of the quality of education we have here in the city.
Wow, that's
so
incredible.
Our schools make a huge difference.
Did you you say it's the second in the U.S.?
Second in the world.
Second in the world.
To get a perfect score.
That's absolutely incredible. Yeah, it's a testament to that kid's hard work and the environment that he's put in. Yeah, that's amazing. Well, I just want to thank you for your time and giving us kind of a background on where Troy's going and what Troy has going on. And I can't wait for the home buyers and sellers of the area to check into it. So thank you.
Can't wait to meet everybody. Come in and meet the mayor.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Hey, thanks for watching the video. Subscribe below, like the video, leave a comment, tell us what you liked, tell us maybe what you didn't like, tell me where you want us to go next, and we'll see you next time.